Since ain't nobody listening to me, I'll tell you, that was fun. I don't know if y'all sitting there completely amazed or completely dumbfounded. But that was fun. For me, it was. Anyway, how's everybody doing this morning? Amen. I heard somebody say tired. Well, I done beat you that long time. There's several of us are tired this morning. But I'll say this. It's like Melinda always said, it's a good tired.
Amen.
Because we were allowed to, and I say allowed, I mean that, we were allowed by God to share the gospel.
Amen.
At 2 parades, and all day yesterday, Trina and Crystal and TC and Chris and I don't know who all up there.
Patrick.
Jill, Miss Barbara, Patrick. They fed a bunch of people baked potatoes. They were, because I ate one of them myself. That was a blessing yesterday. And that is, I'll say that's some of the best outreach we've done since this church has been created.
Amen.
I can promise you, Longview, Texas, Gilmer, and Pittsburgh know exactly who Barbwire Cowboy Church is.
Come on. Yes, sir. And what we stand for.
Yes, and what we stand for. That's for what we stand for is the most important thing. I don't ever want y'all to believe that we do that because we're a church or because we want to put our name out there and stuff. That's not what it's about. It's about getting the gospel to people who hadn't heard the gospel.
Amen. Amen.
And if we did all 3 of those events yesterday, this past weekend alone, and only touched one person, that's what we're supposed to do.
Amen. Amen.
I'll use this for example. The other day we had used the banners at another event somewhere else earlier, and we just didn't have, we forgot where we put them, and TC and Kim had them, and they had forgotten that they had them in the car, and we needed those banners, we thought.
Amen.
And I'm glad they found them now. I'm glad they remembered they had them, not found them, but they wasn't lost. But I'm glad they remembered they had them. But we talked about it, and we decided as a float group that it doesn't matter if we got banners or not.
That's right.
Our name does not matter. What matters is if we present the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
That's what matters.
Yes, sir.
So, but I'll say this, because we were obedient to do it His way, we got first place. And again, this is for the Gilmer parade.
Amen.
All right.
Now, we had a third place. Alan and them took that float to Pittsburgh, and it was a smaller float because Pittsburgh doesn't allow they only allow, what, 30 foot, 32 foot?
32 feet.
So they took a smaller float up there, and they got third place.
Amen.
Yay.
And we're not real sure how long he turned out, but we're still waiting to hear from them.
Yep.
But I'll say this, there was a lot of people in the crowd that recognized what we were doing as far as the way the float was laid out, with Adam all the way to Jesus. So I'm sure the judges saw that too. Now, I'm gonna give this to Melinda.
I have to take it back, don't I?
She has to take it back. And me and Matt had no idea that it needed to go back. So if you can see it, I don't know if you can see it or not, there's two holes that just so fit Matt's knife. And I say Matt's knife, not my knife. Well, we cut it and put it up on the front of my tractor. And they stopped me last night and was trying to get it back. I said, it's tied on. We ain't gonna get it back, it's tied on. She said, we just have to bring it by the chamber. I was like, it's our side. And Melinda saw last night when we took it off, it's got two stickers on it. Return to Gilmer Area Chamber of Commerce. But here's the most important part. Prize money will not be awarded until signed and returned.
And the holes are why he wants me to take it.
Yeah. So, I hope that don't cost us prize money.
If it does, we keep it the same.
Yeah, we keep them aside.
Usually what they do is you can blame it on the men when you get down there.
Well, Dickie's daddy's already found a way to fix it. He said get some of that plastic tape that was white and hide it and just give it to him quick.
You're real quick. No, we ain't gonna be dishonest. Oh, me. But I guarantee you, folks, I've been preaching that over the last month or so that we're moving forward, and we are definitely moving forward.
Amen.
And this is the very first start.
Amen.
We're not doing this just to get our name out there. We're doing this to get Jesus' name out there.
Amen.
To get God out there.
Amen.
And that's what we're supposed to do. So
Amen.
I appreciate all of y'all for allowing us to do that. Because it wasn't free.
That's right.
It wasn't free. The return has been, the return will allow us to smoke. How many turkeys, Dickie? 33 turkeys are smoked next week, and 12 turkeys will be fried. Some of that's going to be feeding us next weekend. So not only did it bless people, it provided for our meal and everything else. So
Amen.
thank y'all very much.
Amen.
And I say thank y'all. I say thank y'all because y'all are the people who made possible all of this stuff. So thank y'all very much. Okay, y'all want to get to the word? Huh?
You're saying we'll do if we touch one person? I just got a
Yeah.
little story.
Tell them about the story. Now wait a minute. Just the baby. Okay. That's inside joke with Melinda and Alan. Just the baby. Anyway, just the
Go ahead.
facts.
Well, we got stopped as we was going around through there, and there was this little kid standing there, and he was looking back at the float and everything. and his mama was standing there next to him, and that little kid hollered out, "Hey Jesus, I believe in you." His mama just broke down in tears and bent over to him, and she stood back up and said, "Thank y'all so much for the display that y'all put on."
Wow. Amen.
So
Amen.
we did touch somebody.
Strong stuff.
There's two people right there.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yes, amen.
As we went around through there, we got standing cheers too.
Yep.
They literally stood up and cheered for that float going through
Did the same thing in Longview
there.
too?
Yeah.
And Gilmer.
If,
So we are moving.
yeah. And I appreciate Alan, y'all's years, Danny, and everybody who's in that float in Pittsburgh. I appreciate the hard work y'all did to get that going and your willingness to go up there and do that. I appreciate it very much. I'm sure the
So we
people do.
do, I just wanted to share that about that. You were saying if we touch anybody,
Yeah.
at least, if we touch one person, we're doing what we're supposed to do.
Well,
Amen.
I know what you're trying to do, but I will tell you, as a church body, we appreciate it very much.
Amen.
Hard work.
Yeah, we do.
You and Miss Tam, Danny, and I don't know which one it was, Richard, or who was up there yesterday?
Richard.
Richard,
Me, Danny, and the youth. We
yeah.
had some of the youth that was-
But Richard came up there.
Yeah.
Richard.
Come over and help put it-
I just bounced back for Richard. Came up there with me and Melinda and Dickie.
Yeah.
And that, we
Got it all put
had to put it all together and everything, so I thank y'all for that very much. And I say thank you because I've been preaching this for a month. And it's taking effect.
Amen.
Without teamwork, it can't come together.
Do what?
Without teamwork and the good Lord's
That's
love,
right.
it can't come
That's
together.
right. That's right. That's right. That's definitely right. But, if anybody wants to get into the float team, I guarantee you will be blessed.
Amen.
You will be blessed.
Hey,
Anyway,
Todd,
yeah, huh?
Thursday at Longview, there was countless number of people that were naming off God, Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
through the whole parade.
Yeah.
400, what was it, 40,000?
40,000 people.
And a lot of them were children.
Yeah. A bunch of them kids. Dickie's got a video. Where they find that video?
The one about the Melissa.
Melissa got it, okay.
Yeah.
No. I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
video
the
that-
parade.
Yeah, the parade.
Crystal.
Okay,
Crystal found
got
it.
Where'd you get that?
The Longview parade.
Oh, off of the Longview News Journal.
Okay. You can go then into the Longview News Journal and see our parade going through there and what they said about it. What they said about it was
Nice.
they called it a living activity. But just because they didn't have anything else, they didn't have any other words to describe it. But of course, they said they advertised it, said a Cowboy church, and we was the only one that had a tractor pulling the parade. I mean, they really talked it up. So
They did.
it was
Especially
good.
if they like the tractor.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
Yes.
Could you tell everyone what the float is? Not everyone knows exactly what we're talking about.
Okay.
How it touched, what it actually represented.
The float itself it started off with this brand new tractor. Nice, big blue tractor.
Knock on the door, company will tell you, you go ahead and start off from the neck of the trailer.
Okay. I'm sorry. From the neck of the trailer back. Okay. Anyway. float starts off on the front of it with Adam and Eve. No, hang on. Back up a little bit further. It starts off as a movie theme. That was the theme for Pittsburgh. For Gilmer's is movie themes. So what we did was, I said we.
It was we.
It wasn't me.
It was we.
Bill made a very nice
Camera.
camera out of the box. And when it was brand new, I didn't know if it was gonna make it or not. But he worked magic on it. That thing looked good. But anyway, God was sitting up in a chair, a director's chair in the front, and his name was on the cross. It said God. He was at the front, behind the camera. The next thing was Adam and Eve. Then the next person was Moses. Then there was Joseph and Mary and baby Jesus. Then there was Jesus at the cross. Well, actually, there were kids, you know, when Jesus said, "Come unto me, all the kids, bring all the kids unto me." The kids were around him, and he was talking to them. And this is a weird deal because we had Richard and Robert with two Jesus. So Jesus here and Jesus back there is the same Jesus. and a lot of people noticed that. I was like, wow.
It's called special effects in the movie.
Yeah, special effects. But they had Jesus talking to the kids, and they had a cross, and had a tomb, and then behind that was Jesus, an 8-foot Bible. Of course, everybody's seen the Bible. 8-foot Bible with Genesis 1:1 and John 1:1, which is in the beginning God created the earth, and in the beginning was the Word. God was the Word. The Word was with God. Anyway, those two books, and that was the gist of the float. But what it was the story of the beginning all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
All the way to the end. And it was a good way to present the Bible, and present Jesus, and present God and everything. So that was special.
And people understood it.
Yeah, people.
That's what
understood it.
surprised me. People understood it.
They did. All right, y'all ready to get in the Word?
Amen.
Okay. If y'all want to join me this morning, I'm going to be in 2 Kings. 2 Kings. I also want to say that while Joe was sitting here, Joe was talking this morning, I kept coming back to my mind. What he was saying was exactly right. That you can be branded as somebody, but not be that person. God changes people.
Amen.
But it took me back to the verse, and I'm horrible at trying to remember stuff. You know that. It took me back to the verse where Jesus said that you can a prophet is of no account. Basically, a prophet's nothing in his own hometown.
Right.
And what he's saying is, he can be a prophet of God. He can be a godly person and be in his own hometown, and people remember who he used to be. They don't know who he is now, who he used to be. And that I think that goes right along with what Joe was saying. You can get branded, but God can change it.
Amen.
But you can't. You never can live down what you did in the past. In some places. You have to keep going forward. Change people's mind about you.
Yep.
All right. 2 Kings, chapter 19. Chapter, 2 Kings, chapter 19. All right. We're going to start in verse 9. And I have, now you understand, this is the Old Testament. And what that means is, with it being Old Testament, there's no way I can read those names. No way. But we're just going to try.
I'm sorry.
Did y'all hear the trumpet? It ain't nobody left. That's what I'm thinking. Uh-oh. I was thinking for myself then, I thought, well, ain't nobody else. Nobody else left in. That's bad, because if you're a preacher preaching to folks who's supposed to be going, you ain't going and they ain't going, we all got problems. All right, 2 Kings verse 9, 2 Kings 19, verse 9, here we go. So now them, or he, received a report that the Cushite, king of Egypt, was marching out to fight against him. So he again sent messengers to Hezekiah with this word. Listen to this. He said, say to Hezekiah, king of Judah, do not let the God you depend on deceive you. Don't let the God you depend on deceive you. When you say Jerusalem will be handed over, will not be handed over, will not be handed over to the king of Assyria. So, his name basically is Sennacherib, or we'll just say that, Sennacherib. What he did was, he had somebody going to come fight against him, a king come fight against him. He wasn't worried about that king. He was worried about Hezekiah. So he sent Hezekiah a message. He said, hey man, you know who I am. You know who my ancestors are. You know that I'm the one who's going to whoop your tail before long. And the time's coming. And don't be foolish enough to let your own brain deceive you into believing that your God, small letters, that your God is going to win me over. That your God is going to defeat me. That your God is going to keep me from getting what I want. Don't think you're foolish. I mean, you got better sense than that. So basically what he was wanting is he's wanting Hezekiah to say, oh, I don't want Syria to come up here. So we're just going to give up now. But let's go to 10. Say to Hezekiah, king of Judah, don't let the God you depend on deceive you when you say, Jerusalem will not be handed over to the king of Assyria. Surely you have heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all the countries, destroying them completely, and you will be delivered. Jump down to verse 14. Hezekiah received the letter from the messenger and read it. Then he went up to the temple of the Lord. Watch what he did. He went up to the temple of the Lord and he spread out the letter before the Lord. Keep going. And Hezekiah prayed to the Lord, said, "O Lord, God of Israel." You have to understand, Hezekiah knew his God. Hezekiah's God was not a God of small g's.
Amen.
It's the only God that can have his name written with a capital G.
That's right, amen.
Why? Because he is the only God that's a living God.
Amen.
He said, Hezekiah prayed to the Lord, "O God, O Lord, God of Israel, enthroned between the cherubims, you alone are God over the kingdoms of the earth. You have made heaven and earth. Give ear, O Lord, and hear. Open your eyes, O Lord, and see. Listen to the words that he has sent to insult the living God. It is true, O Lord, that the Syrian king have laid waste to these nations and their lands. They have thrown their gods into the fire and destroyed them. For they were not gods, but only wood and stone, fashioned by men's hands. Now, O Lord, our God, deliver us from his hand, so that all kingdoms on earth may know that you alone, O God, O Lord, are God."
Amen.
See, what happened is Hezekiah got his letter from somebody that's being a bully. But not just for somebody being a bully because you're going to take your 50 cents and beat them up at lunch. No. He was going to take 100% of everything Hezekiah had. Not only beat them up, but he was going to destroy them. And I started thinking to myself, have I ever had somebody try to be a bully? Yeah, I have. And then I thought, has anybody ever tried to destroy me?
He's gonna come see
You what? Yeah, yeah. But has anybody ever tried to destroy me? And I have to say, yeah. But you know what? I'm still here.
Amen.
Amen.
Satan tried to destroy me 3 years ago.
It worked out.
I'm still here.
Amen.
He tried to destroy everything that God had put together. This church is still here.
Amen.
He's tried to destroy the people that put this church, that make up this church. Some of them he got. There's a whole bunch of them this morning, if we look around, that he ain't got.
Come on.
Amen.
But he ain't gonna stop. If we continue to march forward, God ain't gonna stop. God ain't, no, I said it right. God ain't gonna stop.
Amen.
Satan ain't gonna stop either.
That's right.
Now, I want to get this straight. Don't ever think that we're doing enough, this church, to get Satan's attention. Please don't ever think that we're doing enough. But we're not. We're not. And you may take offense to me saying that. He's not omnipresent. He's not omnipotent. He can't be every place at one time. So that means from him to be here, he's having to let another country alone.
That's right.
Not only another country, but the rest of the world. Is he gonna come talk to us in this little church? But he does have some demons that just run amok. And we need to make sure that they don't have a place to even stick a toe
Amen.
in the door.
Amen.
We need to pray. We need to keep our prayers up for this church. We need to pray for each and every one of us. We need to pray for each other. What I mean by that is, when we're complacent, when we are just riding along and everything's going good, we're not disturbing the waters, that's fine with him. But we're not doing a whole lot. But you let a group of people start raising the name of God up. And let other people start in Longview, Pittsburgh, Gladewater, Gilmer. You let these people start noticing. They don't have to do anything if they just start noticing. Then he's gonna say, look, maybe we need to go over and check that out. You boys go over and handle that. And most of the time, it always happens this way. If they keep on, just like that king of Syria, they'll keep on making threats and just bullying their way in until one or two people get tired of it and just quit doing it, go back to sitting down. And without those one or two people, the team can't really be successful because they just don't have enough people. So before you know it, the team sits down. When a team sits down and the preacher thinks, I just think that we ain't got people who want to work. So I guess we'll sit here until some people who want to work come back. See, that's the way churches become complacent. They don't do it out of just, I won't get nothing like that. I don't. It starts with one or two people. It gets real big. That's why I say, if there's one or two people that don't want to do something, that may cause a problem in the whole church. When you got people that wanna work, that don't have the people to work, a small group of people can't do it all. Shelley, Linda, y'all know that. We y'all's ministry. A small group of people can really get things built up and get the word out. But they can't do everything. Sometimes you need a larger group of people.
Amen.
See, we need everybody.
Amen.
We need everybody. When you have we studied in Acts 2 this past week. When you have a group of people that come in one accord, the Bible says, in Acts 2, there was 120 people, all in one accord, which means they were all, that's not the card. Y'all missed that. One accord. They 120 people came to one accord. Honda Accord.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Went over about that.
When you have everybody in one accord coming together, which is everybody in unison, then you have something that cannot be destroyed.
Yes, sir.
What destroys it is when one person drops out of that group. That makes the cord a little bit weaker.
Amen.
Somebody else drops out, makes the cord a little bit weaker. And because it made it big, it made it weak, then a bunch of people drop out, which makes it quite a bit weaker. Before you know it, it snaps. You know, me a bunch of times in my whole life, I always wondered what makes a church fall. What makes a church that's vibrant and living, doing things for God? What makes that fall apart? I've been in a situation where a group of 350, 400 people in a church, we'll go down to 60 people. I sit back and think, what caused that? One person. Then two people. Then three people. See, a church has to be what God called it to be. Which is everybody working together.
Amen.
Some people say, well, I can't do a whole lot. Yes, you can. You can do the most important thing that's required in the church. Pray.
Amen.
Some people aren't able to give a whole lot. You can pray.
Amen.
You can be here when they're needed, when their team's needed. Some people can give a whole lot, but they can't do anything else. I said, yes. If that's your calling, that's what you need to do. I hate this. I know I say I hate it, but I still have to do it. If it's your call to give, you don't want to miss your call.
Amen.
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 You don't want to let God down. I know for a fact. Some people just can't give a whole lot. That's understandable. Sometimes God ain't called you to give. There's some people that can. Some people that do. But if your calling's to decorate the best you can do.
Amen. Amen.
If your calling's to work on things, build the best something you can build.
Amen.
If your job is, your calling is music, when you're up here, you play the best you can play.
Amen.
If your calling's cooking, amen, that is a call.
Yes, it is.
Amen. When you calling's cooking, cook the best meal you can cook.
That's right.
What I'm saying is, when you do it for the least of these,
Amen.
Jesus said, you're doing it for me.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
And when you do it for the church, when you do it for God, God's house, you're doing it for Him. You're not doing it for Todd.
Right.
I shouldn't be I'm not a hill of beans to Him. He loves me, trust me. He loves you just as much as He loves me.
Amen.
Amen.
He expects just as much out of you as He expects out of me.
Yes, it does.
I understand the standard that the preacher's supposed to uphold, but that standard, I don't know how to explain this, but I'm gonna try. You know, when you say that a preacher's supposed to uphold a certain standard, the preacher's supposed to uphold a certain standard for y'all. You're supposed to follow. So that's a responsibility given to me by God.
Amen.
It's no more important than the person who makes coffee on Sunday morning. No more important than Ty buying donuts on Sunday morning. No more important than Miss Jean having to get up out of bed and Mr. Jan come down here when she's fighting for every step she takes.
Amen.
Amen.
And she she comes back there and Mr. Jean sits with her back there in the back of the room. That is a calling.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes, it is.
It's also, don't get me wrong, it's her responsibility. But she answered her calling. Which I thoroughly believe her and Jan's calling is not only to me as a pastor, because I love them dearly, but it's to this church to be an encouragement to everybody here.
Amen.
Because I guarantee you, when I come in here on Sunday morning and I'm hurting, my back's hurting, my elbows hurting, my shoulders hurting, I'm wore out. When I come here Sunday morning and I look up Miss Jean, walks through the door, I guarantee you, it encourages me. Hey, I think I can just get up and go a little further.
Amen. Amen.
I believe I can do what I need to get up and do.
Amen.
Thank you, Miss Jean. I appreciate you very much. Because she don't have to get up and come up here. We all have callings. We all have callings. We ought to make sure that we're meeting those callings. And don't let some bully like the king of Assyria get over to you. Because he never will deceive you.
Amen.
God is always true. He cannot lie.
Amen.
So whatever comes out of his mouth
True.
is the truth.
Amen.
Good grief. I done gone a long ways. I hope y'all got something out of this morning.
Amen.
I don't wanna leave here this morning without giving somebody the opportunity to meet the Lord. But I will say this. You don't have to stand up, be recognized. You don't have to raise your hand. You don't have to come down front and embarrass yourself. All you have to do is believe in the name of Jesus.
Yes.
Believe. Ask for forgiveness. He will forgive you. He'll save you.
Yes.
So if there's anybody here this morning that wants to be saved, anybody here this morning that wants to know this Jesus, all you have to do is believe it. I'll invite you, if you want to, come talk to me about it. Talk to Melinda, talk to Dick, talk to Mr. Jean, Joe and Paul. There's a lot of folks around here that talk to you. Find somebody you feel comfortable with. Ask them, say, what's this deal about Jesus? I love all of you. And I hope everybody has a good week this week. Why y'all look at me like Catholic with the gate? Y'all just sitting there. One other thing I want to do this morning. I'm going to take a few minutes. If there's anybody here that, Joe and Paul, if y'all would, if there's anybody here this morning that needs prayer, Dickie, if you would come up here. Mr. Gene, if you don't mind, if you come up here. These two gentlemen, Mr. Jean's an elder in the church. Dickie's just he's just a leader of the church. But if there's anybody here this morning that needs prayer, I'll invite you to come up. You can pray by yourself, or you can get one of these guys to grab hold of you and pray with you. But if you need prayer this morning, now's the time to come. If you need prayer this morning, there is no better place to be than God's house. And I encourage you. Just going to take a few minutes. We don't have altars here. You can kneel at the chair you're sitting in. It doesn't make any difference. This podium is open for anybody. Jesus. Father, in the name of Jesus. Touch us. be able to pray,
Amen.
be able to pray to the body of Christ. All right. Everybody have good, everybody okay? Everybody good?
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Who wants to pray us out? Don't everybody jump at one time. Ty, you want to pray us out?
Dear Lord, we want to give you a big thank you for allowing us all to wake up this morning and come to your house. Just thank you for all the blessings and the parade and the floats you've given us so far. Just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of it and see what a blessing you can be to people. Just pray that everybody that saw our float in the past few weeks has gotten something out of it. And just pray that you put a special blessing on Whitewater as we're fixing to come in next week, Father. Open their hearts and minds to be able to see what's coming by them, be able to understand it, and if they have any questions, that somebody will be around for them to answer the questions. Just thank you for bringing us all here safely this morning. Pray that we all got something out of the music and out of the word this morning to go and share your word more. Just want to put a special blessing on all the families as we're going into the Christmas holidays. They're going to be struggling with something, or struggling with family, finance, whatever it may be. Just pray that you put a special blessing on them and give them comfort. Be with all of our troops and our troops' families as they're not going to be at home for Christmas this year. Just pray to put a special blessing on them and their families. And a big thank you to them for what they do. We just want to thank you mostly for what you do for us. We pray that you bless us all and forgive us from all where we fail you. Keep us home safe and give us a good week this week. Amen.
Amen. All right, y'all have a good week.